Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, Tech and Tonic. Today, we would be discussing um, cybersecurity and EMF radiation, and if there's also a correlation between these two things. Um, we have a guest speaker today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Amr Kenawy. I come an engineering background and a doctorate in business and administration. My main focus is cybersecurity. Been working in this domain for years now. And I'd like to share some insights to keep everyone, safe and aware about this digital highly connected world.
Okay. We're going to start off with a few questions in regards to EMF radiation.
Yes, please.
So the first question is, are you aware what EMF radiation is?
Yes, of course. We're talking about the electromagnetic fields and how they are generated and how harmful they are, when you get exposed to them frequently.
Hmm.
So this is something to be considered, any radiation. It's even about the smart device, the new games and stuff like this for kids and stuff like that, the IoT toys, all of these, it's a little bit of the electromagnetic fields and radiation thing, and the other thing is the cybersecurity and being connected to this this world of a lot of devices connected with a lot of threats and risks.
Yep. And do you believe in EHS or electrohypersensitivity?
Yes, I do. It's not my, I'm not the expert here to talk about it, but yes, I do.
And have you ever felt any symptoms in regards to anything related to EHS or when you're in the vicinity of EMF radiation?
No, never happened.
Do you think so? EHS is EMF sort of impacts individuals in different ways, and some people are very sensitive to this, and they're termed as EHS people. But the thing is, EMF can also impact sort of, it can cause very mild symptoms as well, such as headaches and this and that. And people sort of don't realize that it's the EMF that's causing these symptoms. So what are your thoughts in regards to that?
Maybe recently I've read an environmental research about this topic specifically, and it comes with the same hazard of the screen time and the radiation thing. This study found that it has like an effect. It affects actually parts of the brain. It's related to focus and decision making. This is one thing. The other thing is people complained about this exposure to the EMF, for example. It disturbs the sleep and the brain health on the long run.
Mhm. How many devices do you have?
uh I shouldn't be saying something like this, but my personal devices and gadgets, we're talking about 5 or 6.
And do you think doctors are aware of electrohypersensitivity and that EMF is harmful?
I think yes. At least if they don't know how technically it's generated, it affects people and stuff like this. I think from a medical perspective, most of the doctors they should be aware about something like that. Actually they must be aware.
Where do you think the most EMF is emitted from?
I do believe basically power stations and the electric wires.
Mhm.
But I'm talking about the high voltage thing.
And what about things like cellular towers, Wi-Fi routers,
Of
and things like
course,
that?
of course, it doesn't only come with this, with more radiation. So for example, it's not ever safe, if you can find an operator paying some building millions just to put their antenna up there, but people in this building, they're risking their lives on the long run.
And do you think these large corporations, such as telecom companies, they're aware of the impacts that these
100%.
devices are having on people?
100%. And even if they know the harm, with all due respect, they will not harm their business. Like every operator, every technology, like vendor or something like this, they have to undergo with their devices and products some tests that should, like come with the with separate with the specific codes that mark it safe for human use.
Hmm.
So I think, like this is something we cannot grant because I'm not talking about any conspiracies, but this is business, huge money. So, like I cannot grant something like this. So it's better to be, like to protect yourself. Like it's in general. I'm not talking about the age. Of course, we have, like the kids. I'm talking about the ages from 8 to 12, for example. The average hours spent on their devices, it's between 4 and 6 hours. So and maybe teens now it's more than 9 hours. So even like us the grown-ups, we're attached to our devices all day long. Even the mobile, the laptop, you're always between at night the TV.
Hmm.
So it's what I usually even tell to my family. You need to disconnect yourself. Find something keeps you busy outdoor. Like that it makes you forget to check your mobile, make you like to minimize the screen time for every age.
And would you buy EMF or EMF protective clothing?
Honestly speaking, in my region where we live, it's not something common, and like we can we it's not easily to be found. So no, the answer is no.
Hmm. And what about something like a scalar field device? And that's something that sort of emits a resonance that protects an individual within the field of that resonance.
Well, I don't know about it, so I can't add up anything here.
So scalar waves are basically another type of longitudinal wave, and they are sort of termed to be a lot safer. Our human body actually emits these waves naturally.
Interesting.
And do you think, since in this current era, well, in this current digital age, there's so much data with all of these advancements in 4G, 5G, 6G, this and that. There is
Yeah.
there is this aspect of EMF radiation being everywhere, but there's also this aspect of so much data being transferred here and there. What would be the impact in terms of cybersecurity to those individuals?
In terms of cybersecurity, this is really crucial. Even in our awareness courses, what we try to promote and like make people understand, like this number of, like number of devices connected. You're talking about the fridge is now connected to the internet. The AC has got an IP.
Hmm.
Like so, even the hacking happens here. Like some other companies got hacked from their AC IP, something like this. So we have to admit that with the growing IoT devices and getting connected, it's like it's exactly equal with the number, this number. As long as it increases the number of risks associated, the threats itself, and even breaches and exploiting some vulnerabilities.
Hmm.
So and again, maybe I mentioned this earlier. We're talking about, like even the IoT toys, they don't have strong security. Like 60% of these devices, they lack proper privacy protections. Even the risk itself. For example, the most important part, especially for kids, it's not for kids, for everyone. These toys, when they get connected, they can easily track you. Like your geolocation and like your voice recording, they can easily target the kids. And by the way, they're like we're talking about million and more than 1 million kid were victims of the identity theft in 2022. So we're talking about something serious here, it's not just that you're giving your kid the like an iPad or something like this to sing them a lullaby to sleep and stuff like that. No, you're just giving him to someone. And I've witnessed that game Fortnite online, and
Mhm.
I've witnessed like I won't say but a hacker or something like this, but they were like taking advantage of the kid, and they reached his mobile number, and he was we just like we intervened in the right time before just like sending his location and stuff like this. We're going to give you V-Bucks, we're going to like what interests them. It's
Mhm.
all about the phishing, like this is in cybersecurity, it's called phishing. And then basically the phishing comes in two ways. It's either, like spear phishing. I want you, so I'm doing my social engineering thing. I'm trying to get what interests you so I can hook you up or I can fish you. And whenever you do this click, I'm inside already.
Mhm.
Like, and the other one is like spray and pray. It's just a message that's sent to million of people, and they just wait for whoever will respond and like do the click. And here, like it's like you're welcoming the hacker. Yeah.
And in terms of IoT devices, like smart fridges, what's the threat that on the consumer in terms of privacy? Now, what data can a smart fridge or an air conditioner provide to an hacker?
Okay, it's basically the hacker is after, like your identity. But
Hmm.
it's either money or identity. When he gets your identity, like he can do a lot of stuff. For example, imagine that a hospital has been hacked with all the records of the patients. Like there was maybe in 2020 some exposure to some country that, like when the breach happened, they can know the health condition of the prime minister. This is something, like you can easily get him killed. Like this is very, very important. Like even the other thing is like hacking vehicles. Hacking vehicles, I can, like stop some main function that can lead to your death or something like this. So basically, you need to have, like a set of rules when you get connected to this world, because no, the internet is not safe. Okay.
Hmm.
So some basic things that we maybe are all aware of, or maybe some vendors are pushing us to do it. But basically, you have to use strong passwords. You have to use the multi-factor authenticator. You have
Hmm.
to be aware of phishing. What is phishing? What is v-phishing? What's smishing, which comes on the SMS part. Okay, you need to keep your software updated, always patched. You need to use Wi-Fi and secure Wi-Fi networks. So basically, don't go connected to a free Wi-Fi. There's a
Hmm.
pineapple Wi-Fi thing, and this is like when you're in a station, airport, in the street, you're looking for free internet. This is interesting. I can get myself like free connectivity. Actually, it's all fake, and what you're doing is you're connecting to a device that belongs to a hacker, and he's doing whatever you want because you're just sharing your booking dates, your flights, your like everything, your even your credit cards. If you don't know. Nowadays, hackers can, like, if you're using this HDMI cable at home, for example, for Netflix and so on and so forth, you know that now they have like some certain software they can run through this cable, and it comes back with all your information, your all the logins and stuff like that. So people need to understand cybersecurity. Need to, it's for everyone. It's not for techies, and it's for everyone now in this digital world. It's like it's like reading and writing. So back to the tips I was just trying to mention. Keep your software updated all the time. Don't use free Wi-Fi networks unless you need to, unless it's urgent. But don't do it because it's a bait, and usually you're the victim in this setup. You need to be cautious with all the social media, with all the links you click. You need to be, like have always a backup for your important data, just to, like to avoid any ransomware that can take place.
Hmm. And what about mobile users? If an individual is sort of connected to a telecom network, what cyber threats do they face?
It's exactly like what you face with the laptop. It's not about the like it's not about the Wi-Fi. It's not about the GSM. It's
Hmm.
about the soft. It's about the programs and applications you're using, and like the content in it. Like a lot of hackers, like are there on the websites and the social media. I'm starting from porn sites, of course, until like the games,
Mhm.
everything. They lie beneath. Okay, follow me for a free iPhone. A naive person will go and click, but this click opens the port. So just open the gate to the hacker to exploit the vulnerability. So it's basically, like it doesn't matter if it's a GSM connection, if it's a network connection about by Wi-Fi or stuff like this. At the end of the day, it's all about you. A lot of entities, they pay trillions of dollars just to keep their environment safe, like banking and stuff like this. And at the end of the day, a lack of security awareness, cybersecurity awareness, would lead to some untrained employee who just, like reply to a phishing mail. So all these trillions are down the drain. Simple. Because he just opened the door. Or even the Uber incident that happened maybe 2 years back. It was about something like this, like an employee whose credential got compromised, and the hacker took it from there. So the human factor here is the most important part. You can always pay for the technology, you can always pay for the best solutions, but let's agree that nobody is 100% secure. You're just trying to minimize the risk.
And can a signal from a mobile phone to a cell phone tower, is that encrypted or can that be hacked as well?
It can be hacked as well, but like there are techniques and technologies like encrypting the signals and stuff like this.
Hmm.
But like now it's always the technology and the hackers. It's like the radar and the anti-radar, like the radar detector. It's always this way. So there is nothing called it's unhackable. No, they find a way.
And what can be implemented from, say, for example, telecom companies or data centers and the people that manage a lot of data to protect their customers from the cyber threats. Say, for example, there's a user who doesn't know anything about technology and they just have a phone. So how can a customer like that be protected?
Okay, about the business itself, or maybe the bank, or maybe the mobile operator, you name it. I'm sure they will be, like having the top security setup, the right investment, everything. But talking about a simple customer client who's using something like this, the most important part, or how they can do, or what exactly they can do to protect their clients, is just giving them awareness. Now awareness comes like in TV shows. It comes in like ads, um, in songs. They bring celebrities now, to make things simple and interesting so they can hear. So like even on if you are on hold, for example, you need to go talk to the customer service. Instead of music on hold, they give you some tips, like the bank will never ask you for your username and password. The bank will never ask you for blah 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 blah, and they take it from there. So it's the best way is to get everyone aware and educated about the cybersecurity, because at the end of the day, it's not just the bank that if you get hacked, if you it's you you got hacked, not the bank got hacked, because you, for example, you clicked on a wrong or a suspicious, like malicious link or something like this. you
Mhm.
gave you gave your credentials, you shared them in a wrong way. So what can the operator or the bank do in this? They have million of clients. In this incident, what they can do? So the only thing they can do is to keep their technology as secure as possible in every way, and then the other way is educate their users and their clients.
Mhm. And what role does AI play in the next generation cyber security?
This is really huge. Like this is really huge, because now even the AI solutions are taken to another levels. Now the AI can simulate the attack itself. You don't need a hacker. So like you have the good AI and the bad AI. So AI in a nutshell, I would say it requires governance and it requires regulation.
Mhm.
It's I don't want to slip into misinformation and misinformation and stuff like this, but literally there is a good AI and a bad AI.
Mhm. And what's the most common type of threat that people face in terms of cybersecurity?
You mean threat of attack? It's usually phishing because this is how it all starts.
And what about DOS attacks and sort of malware attacks?
Okay, DDoS attacks, they call it, like distributed denial of service. And this is not, like it's not basically for I mean not it's basically for companies like like Amazon, for example, and eBay. They are competing, so it's just a technique how to take this, for example, take the Amazon website down for a few hours, so you drive the traffic, for example, to your page, and on the other hand, they're losing money. So they call it, like a distributed denial of service. It's some sort of sending a lot of traffic from different zones around the world. And, like with this traffic, you can take that if it's not secured quite well and have a DDoS solution, you can take the website down.
And how common are malware attacks? Most Windows computers have antivirus and sometimes Mac as well. Is that something that people should be worried about as well?
Yes, of course. Like I was just talking to you about the porn industry and talking about the gaming thing and stuff like this. It always lies beneath. Like this is the thing. Malwares and viruses and like Trojans and stuff like this. It's always there. And that's why, like you need to use a safe browser. You need, like we call it cyber hygiene. You need to have cyber hygiene. You need to know the secure habits that you need to have online all the time, because most of your life is being spent nowadays online.
And what if the threat is in terms of, say, for example, the threat is another human being. Now, this human being is sort of leaking data. So what can we do in that regards?
Well, in that regard, like you have to have an incident in the first place so you can, for example, say this is an inside job. This is some employee who's leaking data or stuff like this. When you have something like this, you need an evidence. And this is where forensics or digital forensics step in. So we try to find the evidence, try to understand what exactly happened. We have a legal report and official report that can be accepted in courts and stuff like this, and you take it to court, like it becomes a legal case.
And how common are ransomware attacks?
Very common, super common.
What what customers would be most targeted in terms of ransomware?
At the end of the day, it's as its name says, like it's a ransom. So what happens is he just encrypts the hacker encrypts your data, your servers. So simply your business is on hold. You can do anything. What happens here? It's where he starts, like negotiating a Bitcoin or two. And like it depends on your cybersecurity readiness infrastructure and your team and your incident response. All the maturity level of your cybersecurity thing is a crucial factor on how you will recover from something like this.
What would the next generation network, maybe a Wi-Fi router or a telecom network, what would a next generation network sort of include in terms of cybersecurity?
Um, Listen, to answer your question, like the next generation, it's all about like the speed and the sort of data and how the packets on the internet would be so secured. So like it has a lot of aspects to talk about. It's not that simple to answer something like this, but basically it's just like what I told you. The next generation comes with like it's super fast connections, some more techniques like like secure shell and stuff like this to make sure the packets and everything is safe. So it comes with its new technology and with its the new cybersecurity technology as well.
Now, earlier, if we go sort of back in time, earlier, internet speeds weren't that fast for hackers to download things. Like it would take hours. But right now, like things get transferred within seconds.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
And that seems to be a very big threat for, say, for example, if we have like a terabyte per second internet connection, that's an entire computer that sort of the hard drive gets in within a second.
Yes, exactly.
What types of encryption do you recommend in terms of that's something that's unbreakable?
We're talking about asymmetric encryption, basically RSA. Like it's the encryption. Two types. It's symmetric and asymmetric. The symmetric, it got only one key, but the asymmetric got two, a
Mhm.
public and private key. So yeah, it's more safer to use like the asymmetric.
And how important do you think training is in terms of cybersecurity for the team?
It is the cornerstone of anything that you need to secure. The people must be aware, the people must be educated, the people must be like always reminded. Even in our company, like when we run an awareness campaign, we make sure we leave like office souvenirs, like like coasters, mouse pads and stuff like this, all with the most important, like the cyber hygiene tips. So we make sure that they're always reminded even after the course, because this is how crucial it is.
Now, there's a lot of since COVID-19, a lot of people are sort of working remotely, and it's becoming difficult to sort of keep confidential information confidential because everybody's working from home, and who knows who's watching what information of the company from the screen of the sort of participant within that meeting, for example. So what measures can we take in this regards?
In this regard, like working from home, usually use a VPN, a virtual private network.
Mhm.
This thing comes first. But to be honest, can you even imagine how can I, as an employer, make sure that that employee working from home is not sitting next to a competitor or something like this?
Mhm.
Do you have to open a camera all the time? Like, and this is illegal actually.
Mhm.
So there is something, like it comes with the training you do, with the ethics of your people, like it's something, like you cannot control. But what you can control is the tech part. How can you get connected safely to your network when you are remote and stuff like this?
Now, there are things like UB keys and biometrics that are being implemented to secure data and for two-factor authentication. How
Yes,
secure is that as opposed to things like maybe an OTP on SMS?
it's very secure and it's very important. Very, very, very. And like it's becoming now the basic thing. A username and password are never enough now.
Hmm.
So authentication now is becoming, like it's about something something you have, something you are. It's between these three things.
And in terms of policy, now a lot of companies sort of implement something like zero trust policies. And what do you think about that?
This is very, 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 very right. And this is very trendy everywhere. And they call it, like some sort of assume breach.
Hmm.
Like this zero thing, it's, like the zero trust. It's you're assuming breach. Everything is unsafe. So like even the network, that you're using everything. So no, it's a very important technique, and whoever is not implementing this already, like he's risking.
So what would you advise corporates um, as a cybersecurity expert to implement to sort of protect the integrity of their company, but also protect the customers that they're serving?
Sure. Okay. I would love to let people know that cybersecurity is not a luxury. So I've met a lot of people in industries which are very critical, and they still, oh, I don't have budget for cybersecurity. But you know what? When they get breached, they have all the money in the world to give it to you, just, like to do the digital forensic thing and to fix things.
Mhm.
And like if he put, like 10%, 20%, even 50%, of the investment he can do. So this is something I would really recommend. Don't look at cybersecurity that it is luxury. Don't look at cybersecurity like it's the technical or the IT team responsibility. No, it's everyone's responsibility. As long as you're using a company asset, as long as you're using the network of the company, as long as you're using the applications. And as I told you, the most important thing is education. Educate your people, educate your clients. Cybersecurity awareness. Like even in October, we have this campaign for cybersecurity awareness in the month of October.
Mhm.
It's all about awareness. So people, please invest in cybersecurity. Please invest in your people. Please invest in your clients. This is the only way. You can have all the technologies in the world. You can have all the network appliances and the best technology. At the end of the day, an uneducated employee can, can burn it all down.
And that's very interesting. And to think that everything is sort of getting digitized and a lot faster. And
Yeah.
it really does pose a real threat to customers as well.
Yes. It's for everyone, like we are all connected, so this is where the risk is.
And what about
Uh,
things like AI? And I've seen a lot of videos on social media where people have been impersonated by AI. So how can a person be protected from that?
Well, again, it's like it's about like understanding the AI, understanding that it comes with some risks. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, like that's what I was trying to tell you, the identity theft. If he doesn't get like your identity, how he's going to impersonate you and do stuff like this unless you give it up easily, you know? So it's again about awareness. The technology will keep evolving, will keep rapidly, like introducing a lot of the new things. And the only way is to cope with this and to protect yourself is to understand, is to learn, is to get educated.
Mhm. And what would be the best way to sort of educate, the customers? What would a campaign about cybersecurity have what would a campaign about cybersecurity have within that campaign?
Basically, it's awareness, it's understanding, like as I said, the most important part is, like your digital hygiene, your online, how safe the practices you're using online. How can you protect yourself, your identity? These are the, like the main things in any campaign. If you're looking for cybersecurity tips and stuff like this, it's not, like it doesn't cost you anything. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Coursera, you can go to, like a lot of platforms that are providing the more than enough of cybersecurity tips and awareness that you need to acquire. Like that people usually, like learn it the hard way when an incident happens.
Mhm. And what about those customers, say for example, they're in their 70s, 80s. How can we educate them when they are not very tech savvy or um, m- you know, they're in they just want to sort of visit a website?
Exactly like what we do when you try to start, like educating kids. Like in my company, we developed the same syllabus of awareness for kids and for, like elder people,
Mhm.
because they are both, like using things very basically, and they can easily click on anything. They can easily, they don't know actually about what they're using. So they're probably going to fall for some hacker or something like this. So this is it. This is how what I do. It's like like gamification. Sometimes like we developed a game for like that game for Fruit Ninja where they throw uh, They throw like fruits, and you start with the ninja sword, cutting them off, and this is how you get your score. It's exactly the same thing. We started developing something like this, but instead of the fruits, it's weak passwords. And you have the sword, and if you want to get the points, you can just, like cut into pieces the wrong password. This way of gamification, it's interactive, it's nice for kids, and even for elder people. It makes that interesting, and like he knows how he gets the points, the score, when he knew and learned about bad and simple passwords that can get them compromised. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of techniques, but most of all, like gamification is the most important, or I mean, maybe the best ROI I've watched in the awareness thing.
Okay. So we could have it something like if a customer or employee watches a certain video about cybersecurity, they earn certain points, and that adds up to maybe a reward or something.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Some sort of something like this. Like there are many ways to do it. It's
Hmm.
just you need to do it right. And doing it right is getting the value at the end of the day.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add to this conversation?
Not at all. I just wished I was a little bit more prepared to make it more insightful, but I promise you I did my best.
You did great. Thank you very much for being on this podcast.